what have you learned in this last year that you want to share with everybody? What parts of wisdom or experience can you reach out and say, this is what changed me or helped me?
Oh my gosh. It's been a year of adventure and learning for me, because we started out the year with me going, with all of us going to Mexico, and I'd never been before. So I had never flown out of the United States. So my year last year started off like with big adventures for me. We had this time last year, my best friends from here came down to Mexico, and I got to be with them. The people that we have met has been amazing. My personal growth has been up and down and up and down and tumultuous and scary.
Would you
and
say this year is your
fun.
hardest year?
Pardon?
Would you say last year, 2023, was your hardest year?
I think it was, yes, most definitely my hardest year.
And what does that look
Full
like
of
when you say hard? For people that are out there that don't know what that imagining, like what are some of the things that you're overcoming this year?
Just everything with myself. So anything to do with my emotions, the way I perceive things, the way I tell stories to myself, anger, resentment, following when my daughter and my mom came down to Cancun in the early spring, watching the patterns of generational, not just trauma, but just watching myself play out from the way I was very close to my mother's mom, so my maternal grandmother, and watching my patterns follow right from my grandmother to my mom to me, and watching it play out in my two girls has been challenging.
Well, your grandmother had my astrology.
My grandmother has your almost exact astrology. She even looks you remind me.
She does look like me. She does look like me.
And my
you married your grandmother.
My grandmother was a very strong woman. She started a church. My mother is a very strong business woman growing up, and very very strong. So I come from a lineage of these strong women, and even my grandmother on my dad's side was, very powerful woman. So the patterns and the innate, ingrained way that I show up in the world was just so visible this past year, and it's created a lot of conflict. It's created a lot of aha moments.
We've definitely had our moments. We've had our moments this year.
Yep, forced growth, but in a good way. And then just the way I show up in the world. 4 years ago, I didn't have Instagram. 4 years ago, I didn't have any social media. I didn't want to be seen. I was an actor, but acting in...
First of all, I just got to point out how ironic that is. I don't want to be seen, but I'm an actor, and I act on shows that are on Netflix.
That's a very private, intimate thing. Like you don't feel like anybody's seeing you. And so I think just the life challenges that were presented in front of me, even going to Mexico was a challenge and very difficult emotionally for me. And so it's been a bucket of mixed emotions, perceptions, and just a whirlwind of ups and downs, this big roller coaster ride that I've been on. And yesterday, I started to feel this sense of, well, actually the last 2 weeks, I really started to have this inner peace, but still have these junky thoughts or old patterns that come up, and they just feel like something that just, I know doesn't belong, feels very almost nasty, and but not part of me. It's almost like I see it come up and I look at it and I'm like, I want to grab onto it again. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But and those ingrained, and I don't even really know what to call them, but patterns, for lack of a better word, are, I think, some of the most difficult things in life to work through.
Yeah, and
So even
it's
if you have a really good toolkit.
and it's I can only imagine. Like, I only have my point of view, but it's not particularly easy being around me all the time.
Well, that's that's very true. But no, it is very easy to be around you, and that's where
Well,
both of us,
I
we're
provide a
just
reflection
learning.
constantly. I provide a reflection constantly because I hold myself to a standard
Mhm.
that probably no one else, I don't know anybody else on the earth other than Jason, actually, right now, that holds himself to that standard. And actually Jordan's starting to. But I hold myself to a standard that is really hard to compare to or to measure against. And that's the whole thing that we do is we believe in transparency, and transparency is communication, and communication isn't always pleasant.
That's true. And I know I reflect back to you many things too that bring up
Yeah, it
your
was pretty
wounds.
funny looking at my dad's chart yesterday, realizing he's a 29-degree Pisces in his moon, and I'm like, oh, how did I miss that?
Mm-hmm. And your brother-in-law, your son's a Pisces, and yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not just the Pisces either. I'm really thinking I show up more in the world like a Gemini.
you do.
And so
Yeah, yeah.
my anger, my frustration, all of my not so, and I don't think that any of our emotions are good or bad. So we don't want to label them that.
Well,
But my
Geminis, when
show up.
they're dealing with problems, Geminis are, hey, what about me? How come it's not me? And that's a Gemini when they're going through stuff. And that's just a way. Like when I'm going through stuff, it's down, 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 depressed, depressed, and then punch through. That's a Sagittarius, right?
Yeah. So my life has been very interesting, and this last year was just like a culmination of everything that I've dealt with in my whole life dumped into 1 year. And I feel like I've sorted through all of the wrapping paper that's in the middle of the floor and tossed and pushed away and tried to figure out. And this morning and last night, it was just so peaceful. It was just pure peace and quiet. And this morning when I woke up and saw the pink sunset, I was just so grateful and so appreciative of the life that we're living and the mission that we're on, and all of the people that we come in contact with, that I touch, people that touch my heart. And there's many of them that they don't even know how much they have touched me or changed how I see something, or I see something and then that is a reflection back to myself, and I have growth from that. So I'm just so grateful and so appreciative of everybody in our community and our Human Garage family, everyone that's come and gone. And I just have a deep love for everyone that is participating in this, and I'm looking forward to 2024 because I think it's going to be a magical year. And
So
honestly,
what are you changing in 2024? What's it, if you could wrap it into a theme and put it into a word or a phrase, what would 2024, what at the end of 2024, we're going to look and say, is this what you became or you did or you what would that word or that phrase or that sentence be?
the word's going to be transformation, and 2024 is going to be honestly, I think, transformation in a way that we can't imagine. It's going to be magical, and things that we think are solid and true and a staple in the way we live our lives, that's going to shift. And
Yeah,
our
we're
lives are going
in
to
for a big shift.
yeah, very, very different. And honestly, it does feel very I don't know what other word, enlightened, like it's going to be a different feel globally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to.
We're in for a big shift.
Mhm.
We are, and for those of you guys, I mean, we are going to do our best in every capacity to stay connected to everybody. The reality is, for those of you guys who message me, my my personal Instagram has become Human Garage for now. So people asking me how they fix their backs and their necks and their shoulders. So it's we're are getting the opportunity to find new ways to communicate with people. And the way that we're doing it is when you've been in the 28-day reset and the Lifestyle Artist Program, the level 2, and you start becoming a mentor and a facilitator, that's where we're starting to spend our time, because it's just sheer numbers.
Mhm.
At this point, there's millions of people around the world. And I mean, I love touching everybody like this every day.
Oh, I do too. In fact, when we do an in-person, and we did our last event, or the one in Joshua Tree in out in California, uh, I just so want to touch and talk to and hug each person, and we get, you know, people that want to get close and
Yeah,
communicate, connection,
that's going
and
to be hard to do
yeah.
too.
So I just want everybody to know that that will hear this message, is that I do want to hug each one of you and know what your life is like and have connection. So however I can do that, we'll see what happens in 2024 for having a connection with all of you. So it does mean a lot to me.
Hey, sweetie, I love you.
Love you too. Happy
Can't
New Year.
wait to have you down here.
Won't be too long.
Okay.
But today I had a freezing cold ocean to
Yeah,
go
let's go get your
to.
cold. Let's get your polar bear swim.
Yeah, the sun's just now kind of coming around here. So what, are we
Okay.
3 hours earlier? Because you're 3 hours ahead.
Yeah, we're 3 hours ahead. Yeah, we're cruising into lunchtime, but I'm fasting, so
Oh, good.
I'm going to my 3rd day of the fast. So
Perfect. That's a good thing. Every good way to start the new year is with a fast.
you know what? I should have done it anyways. I knew I was due for it. My body was saying it. I was going through a transformation, and I wasn't listening. So my body gave me something to listen to, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay, I'm supposed to fast.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Love you.
Love you too. Bye, everybody. Happy New Year to everyone.